Now it's time to clean up all these parts. So I'm a big fan of sandblasting, so I'm going to sandblast all of these parts before I go ahead and paint anything. Now, if you didn't want to sandblast it, you could just probably wire wheel it all up and then paint it. Probably be fine doing that. It's just my preference. Now, obviously, of course, you don't need to paint it at all. You could just put it back together, you know, clean up all the gasket surfaces and put it back together. But I don't know. I like to paint it, make it look clean. I don't like greasy, disgusting parts. So that's what I'm going to do. Noticed one little issue with my intake manifold here. There's a hairline crack right there, and that is ever so bent that way. So this is on the verge of failure. So I'm going to be getting rid of that and replacing it with this one. Part numbers are identical on them, so I won't have any issues. That's one of the nice things about these motors is the wide range of available parts. So this one pretty clean, wrong color. I'm going to go ahead and start sandblasting these, and I'll show you what they look like. Now when I do the starter bracket, I put screws down inside of there, so I'm not going to be fighting getting sand out inside those holes for the next, couple hours. So that's a little trick of the trade. I'll do the same thing for any hole that doesn't go through on this. The ones up here, up there, yeah, looks like pretty much it. Alright, I went ahead and took the cylinder head apart. I need this cap. I'm going to replace just this piece. Got the thermostat out of there and the spring, so I'm going to go ahead and sandblast all this stuff too. Thermostat's the funny part. Most people just replace this. What I do, sandblast it, boil test it. Usually they work fine after you clean them up. It's kind of surprising actually. Fair warning, the Powerhead set doesn't come with the thermostat seal, so you need to buy that separately. Alright, so I'll clean these up. So I got my thermostat all nice and rebuilt. That's what the thermostat looks like after sandblasting. I got the spring and the little thermostat cap. So I'll go ahead and boil it, make sure it opens and works. But as you can see, just save $30 by sandblasting it. Ooh, look at it go. Yep, there it goes. Nice and opened. Water got a little warm, but yeah, works fine. Alright, the first wave of parts just got done sandblasting. As you can see, they actually look nice and new and usable and not disgusting and greasy. So, like I said, I really like sandblasting. Sandblast everything I can. Really makes it look good in my opinion. So I got 2 cans of paint for this project. First one is our primer. Now the funny part about this, I ordered it as a quart. This showed up. I'm guessing the quart's not available anymore. But what are you going to do? And then I have my actual paint. So the primer is part number 0777172, and I'm using a light blue metallic paint. This is going to be part number 0777176. So I'll go ahead and primer these. Just give it a light coat. Now it's time for the Powerhead. Sandblasting the Powerhead is a bit of a problem. You can't just go in there and put this in there and start sandblasting. You're going to get sand caught in all these areas. You're going to be changing the surface finish of your gasket areas here. Bearing areas. Sealing surface there. You're going to be getting sand inside of your intake. Your finish of your cylinder walls is going to change. You really don't want to sandblast this. It's not a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because, like I said, I'm a big fan of sandblasting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jam rags inside of each cylinder wall as tightly as I can. I'm going to get my junky cylinder head, reinstall it, put spark plugs in it, and bolt it back down just to keep sand from going inside of there. Now, my sandblast cabinet isn't very big. Sandblasting it complete assembled isn't really an option. I need to get it as small as I possibly can. Well, it'll fit. It's just I won't be able to get the gun around inside of there. So with all the parts are going to be sandblasted individually, all I'm going to be concentrating on is the outer areas. So I've got a junky bypass cover, junky cylinder head. I'm going to reinstall all of it. I'm going to put screws down each one of these screw holes to make sure I don't get sand penetrated inside of there. I'm going to put another bypass cover on side of here, bolt it down, jam pack rags inside of here, inside the intake side. I'm going to put the other crankcase half back on, wedge rags inside of there, put it on, and when I do my sandblasting, I'm not going to be trying to get anything, inside of here and whatnot, down inside of here. Just the outer surfaces. You're going to get sand inside of here. It's going to happen, and I'm going to take quite a while to clean it all out, but I think the end result's worth it. Alright, I just gave it the once over with the sandblaster. As you can see, it cleaned it up, got all the loose stuff off. I put a piece of tape over the plug here just to make sure I didn't hurt it, like keep it looking good. So, not the best. You can see some little spots that I missed, like up in there. You'll never see it, and it's smoothed out enough with the sand that it'll paint right over. So, what I'm going to do now is give it a light coat of paint, or primer. While I wait for the paint to dry, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning up the hardware. I already wired wheel these. I'll do it for all the others. And I'll also run a tap down all of the threads here. Alright, I went ahead and tapped each hole there is, cleaned all the hardware, and I ran a tap down each spark plug hole. So now what I'm going to do is clean all the gasket surfaces. So we're going to do the figure 8 method. This is a slab of granite. I don't remember where I got it, but I use it whenever I need a solid flat surface. You could probably use a floor too. It doesn't matter. A piece of plywood would probably do fine. So this is a piece of 120 grit sandpaper. All you need to do, put the gasket head, cylinder head on it, and just start moving it around. You kind of want to do a figure 8. Probably glue the sandpaper down, make your life easy, but you're just going to keep doing that until it's nice and clean. So you can see the corners already started. So I'll just do that. Do the same for the top and show you how it looks. Alright, I'm just about done. As you can see, worked perfectly. Gasket surfaces are nice and clean. And that is the recommended Evinrude way to do it. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that for all the remaining parts. And yeah. Alright, I got most of the gasket surfaces cleaned. I still need to do the exhaust tube and all of the power head, but these parts are all done. So you obviously can't get inside of here with, the flat piece of sandpaper there. So I just folded one up, went along the sides, went to town on it, got it all nice and clean. I wire wheeled this just to get all of the gasket material and any corrosion off of it, and then I sanded it down. You have a lot of high and low and shiny spots. It's really kind of weird looking, but it'll do the job just fine. Next step on all these is to run a tap down all of the holes. I'm not going to do this one. If you see that screw is a little cockeyed sideways, if I try, I'm just going to mess it up. I'm better off just leaving it. After you've done this for a while, you start to realize sometimes it's better just leave well enough alone, and that's the case with this bolt. Most of the taps I use look like this. If you notice, it comes to a point. That's your standard everyday tap. Then you get one of these. Notice no point? This is a bottom tap. This is what you should use on most of the outboards. I have this piece from a 9.9 I rebuilt a long time ago. See that tiny pinhole? Yep, that's what you get when you use standard tap side of this instead of a bottom tap. I don't have a bottom tap small enough for that little hole, so like I said, I'm not going to worry about it for this one. All it holds is in the rectifier. It doesn't do anything. It'll be fine sitting like that. Alright, here's my sandblasted and primered power head. Now, you'll notice a lot of spots where I missed some primer. I don't care about that. Reason being, it seems like when the factory built these engines, they didn't pre-paint them, if you will. They put them together and sprayed them. I've tried doing that same thing, assemble the engine, then paint it. The problem is you won't be able to assemble this engine and keep it clean. You're going to have fingerprints and dirt and all kinds of crap all over the place. Well, with the base coat of primer, I'll be able to handle this and touch it without really embedding grease too bad. You don't want to touch it too much. You don't want to get it all greasy. So yeah, I'll keep it as clean as I possibly can until it's all done, assembled, ready to go. Then I'll put another coat of primer, then I'll put another coat of paint. So I have all the hardware that's in this thing is old used random hardware that isn't the right hardware for it. So I just have a pie tin I'm going to be throwing it all in. And if I ever need it again, I'll have it. Doesn't look like any sand came falling right out of there, so far so good. I bet I can do one of these. It lost the little clip that holds the socket on. It's been bugging me for a year now. Not much sand got in there. Whole bunch of sand got in there. Oh, that's not fun. But knew that was going to happen. Alright, and that is what our freshly sandblasted primered Powerhead looks like. So I'm going to be spending the next 2 days tapping and dyeing each one of these holes and getting in there with Q-tips and cleaning out every last speck of sand I can possibly find, which probably won't be too bad actually. It didn't get into any too tight of areas except for, you know, crank holes and intake and, you know, the side. So yeah, it's basically everywhere. But nothing I haven't overcome before. I'm going to go ahead and clean up all the gasket surfaces here, here, clean up the main front here, move the gasket material there. So I got some work ahead of me. So stay tuned for part 3. That's when I'll be putting all this stuff back together. Well, please subscribe. If you got any questions, just let me know. I'm here to help.